Welcome. Now in this module, we're going to talk about how to conduct an internal security assessment. First of all, what is an internal security assessment? The key word here is internal, and what that really means is that there's some activity in the organization which is happening, and the management or some other entity, it could be a business group, it could be another department, really wants to understand the context and the posture, the readiness, the maturity, the effectiveness of the security. So an internal security assessment is an internal effort done by a security resource, an employee, or a security team, an effort to assess the security posture, risks or vulnerabilities for any project, service, application, or device. When is an internal security assessment required? Usually, the occasions when we require an internal security understanding or assessment is whenever we're launching a new IT project or service, when an incident has occurred, for example, and we want to further make sure that there are no further security risks. On change of leadership, a new IT head may come on board, a new president of the organization or CEO may come on board, or when regulatory compliance requirements change or develop. Now, the sequence of security assessment usually consists of 5 basic steps: management approval or communication, assign the resources, build plan scope and the objectives, conduct the actual assessment, and then report findings and remediation measures. Let's look at each one. Management approval or communication. Now, this step consists of the actual initiation, and what we're trying to determine is who has assigned the authority. Sometimes the security team will have the authority to do an assessment, and there is already a framework or a project in place, and it is well understood that the security team led by the CISO or the security consultant or the security head can initiate a security assessment. But sometimes it is not, and then in those cases, an authority is required. An email may be required communicating that the management committee or the board committee has assigned us to conduct this assessment. And then what we really require is cooperation from the stakeholders. So we really need to take them on board and communicate in a manner so that they understand that this is a management requirement, for example, and why this assessment is being carried out and how it will benefit them. And then we have to determine and communicate the timeline and agree with the stakeholders and determine the appropriate report format as well. And sometimes it's useful to meet in an informal manner with, for example, if this assessment is going to be carried out by the network team, go over and have a cup of tea with the network team, head of the network team, and just communicate and understand, clarify the objectives and how you're going to conduct this assessment. And then the second step is assign the resources. So we will assign information security resources who will conduct this assessment, and they must have some relevant experience. If it's an assessment being conducted for the network department, we must have somebody who has worked previously in the network team. Identify the respective resources for the IT assets to be assessed. So in the respective department where we're going to conduct the assessment, we need to ask them to appoint a point of contact or to appoint a team, so they can also get started on the and hold an initial meeting. Like I said in the previous point, it's good to understand what circumstances that team is in, and if they can meet the timelines, and ask them to appoint a point of contact. The third step is build plan, scope, and objectives for the exercise. So now we've understood this, what we need to do. We have the authority. We have some idea of the timeline. We've appointed the resources. Now we go into further depth. So study the IT assets and gather the background security documents. Depending on if the information security transformation project is already going on, was there a hardening activity already going on? Have there already been audits that have taken place previously? Clear the scope boundary. What will and will not be included? Clear the objectives. What are we trying to achieve from this exercise? Determine assessment method based on the report format. How are we going to conduct this assessment? How are we going to collect the data, note down the data, and then report it? And then build the entire plan, build a timeline, share it with your counterparts who are going to be helping you from the IT team, for example, in the network team, like I said, and share it with them and get their buy-in. And then conduct the actual assessment. Conduct the necessary activities such as system walkthrough, vulnerability assessment, security testing, evaluation of security controls, review of process and documentation, whatever measures there are, conduct the assessment, and this should already be included in the plan that we conducted earlier. And then fifth step, report the findings and remediation measures. Here we're going to assimilate and collect and organize the findings and analyze the findings as well, go into the depth, determine the level of severity, the risk, and the appropriate remediation and controls that are going to be implemented as remediation measures or as risk treatment measures. And then tailor the findings to report format and appropriate to the forum. Is it going to go to the board? Is it going to go to the IT steering committee? Is it going to go to the IT team? And then share the report and preferably present the report. And a few pointers. The security team should not be reactive. Security in the organization should not be reactive. It should be there should be an information security transformation program already in place. And it looks good. It's good for the organization's health if this type of assessment is part of the security transformation. Security transformation project should address such loopholes, and it should be taken in the general environment in which the security transformation is being conducted, and align the security assessment with benchmarks and processes already established if they have already been established. That's all that we have for this module. Thank you.